when dividing by a decimal, we need to move that decimal point over so that we're dividing by a whole number. What I like to think about is that these two decimal points are connected. So if I were to move this decimal point over one place, I also have to move this decimal point over one place. So keep that in mind when you look at these. I'm going to move this decimal point over one place and this one over one place. So what I'm really looking at is 222.5 divided by 89. Again, these two decimal points are connected. I need to have 0 decimal points in my divisor, the number I'm dividing by. So when I move it over once, I have to move the other decimal point over once as well. So now I'm going to take 2 divided by 89, and 89 doesn't go into 2, so that's a 0. Now I'm looking at 22 divided by 89. 89 doesn't go into 22 evenly, so that's a 0 as well. Now I'm looking at 222 divided by 89. I'm going to estimate this as 90. 90 times 2 would be 180. 90 times 3 would be 270, which is already too large, so I know that the number here should be 2. And I can check that over on the side if I want. 178. Again, don't erase these, they may come in handy later. All right, and now I will do the subtraction here. I can't take 8 away from 2, so I have to borrow from here to make that 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. This is now a 1. I can't take 7 away from 1, so I need to borrow 1 from here, make that 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. 1 minus 1 is 0. Now I need to bring a number down, and I just realized I forgot to put my decimal point up here. I'm glad I remembered that. Now I have 445 divided by 89. Again, if I were to estimate this to be 9 and this to be 45, 9 times 5 is 45, so I would try 5 here to see if this works. 89 times 5, note how I'm putting these next to each other to keep these organized instead of all over the place. 9 times 5 is 45, 8 times 5 is 40, plus 4 is 445, so this is going to work. So this would be 5, and then I would multiply. 89 times 5, 445. When I subtract, I get a 0. There's nothing left to bring down, so I know that this is correct. We're going to go through the same process here. I'm dividing a decimal by another decimal. I can't have a decimal out here. This needs to be a whole number. This needs to move over 2 places. So does this, meaning that the decimal point will be here, and a 0 will come in. I'm going to rewrite this then as 80 divided by 2. It should be clear that that's 40, but let's just go through the process anyway. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Then I'll multiply. 4 times 2, that's 8. Subtract the 8, I get 0. Bring down a number, still can't divide. That's when I put a 0 up here. So when you're dividing with decimals, you have to make sure that the number outside, the divisor, the number you are dividing by, does not have a decimal point in it. The way you do that is by connecting it to the decimal point underneath the division symbol and sliding it over as many times as it takes to make the outside a whole number.